Apologies to anybody that caught a previous stream. Technical difficulties. Currently looking at the flooding that has devastated the coastal city of Derna, Libya. The estimate official toll now could be 20,000. When I first started reading about these flooding, it wasn't a few hundred people. It became 10,000 missing. Now it is almost 7,000 people missing. Sorry, let me repeat that. 7,000 people reported to have died in the floods. Over 10,000 are reported to have still be missing, and 30,000 people in the city are displaced. This is a population of only 80 to 90,000 people. I keep reading a quarter of the population. This is over half of the population of the eastern coastal city of Derna, Libya. 60% of the population has been devastated. This cannot be more grim, as this was not a poor city. This was a pretty wealthy coastal city in Libya, in the Sea of Libya. This is absolutely my heart breaks for people so much. After the Morocco earthquakes, now these floods in Libya. I'm not ready to hear all these. This news is heartbreaking. Thousands are still missing after a dam collapsed, causes massive flooding. So, a dam collapsing, a dam failure during a flood causes the water to rush at you so fast it'll break your legs. The flooding being as a result from a dam collapse, a dam failure. You think how many dams, how many thousands of dams have been erected over the last 80 to 100 years, and how many of them are still there from 80 to 100 years ago. 10,000 people were declared missing by official aid agencies such as the Libyan Red Crescent. Corpses still litter the street, and drinkable water is in short supply. Now you get into diseases and 30,000 people displaced, 10,000 missing. That's already half. With 7,000 dead, that's almost 60% of the population of Derna, Libya. More than affected. Now they will be climate refugees, their families, their friends, everything. The scale of this devastation appeared even worse than officials had initially predicted. The sea is constantly dumping dozens of bodies. The Minister of Civil Aviation of the administration. Aiding that reconstruction would cost billions of dollars. Such was the need to bury the bodies to avoid the spread of disease that hundreds were being buried collectively in one grave. Derna residents have been pleading for a new field hospital, as the two existing hospitals in the town that become makeshift morgues. Sea patrols were working along the coast trying to locate washed up bodies, many of which were taken to Kubrick for potential identification. The collapsed road network in Derna was estimated at 20 miles. The area devastated by the flood covers 90 hectares or 220 acres, and 5 bridges have been wiped out. 60% of the population has been affected by these flooding. 60%. There's still 10,000 missing, but with the 20,000 dead here, this is only going to become harder, as the people that survive now have to try to rebuild. Without fresh drinking water, without non-potable water to be able to clean with, it starts becoming very chaotic very quickly. Especially that they are finding so many hundreds of bodies at a time washing up from the Sea of Libya. The Sea of Libya is constantly dumping bodies. Full scale of devastation in North African nation still not clear as aid agencies struggle to reach cut-off areas. They have multiple bridges that have collapsed, 20 miles of road networks that are washed away. There doesn't seem to be any easy way, and the waters clearly haven't been calm enough for any kind of seafaring. Also, this is going to be morbid, but if ships were trying to approach Libya from the Sea of Libya during the storm or the day before, they might have been hitting bodies on the way to Libya. That is the amount that is being described here. See this video of The Guardian, 1:40.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
فيديو سووه هذا وادي وهذا وادي هاك تصور هذا
Malaysian
وادي
dams
وهذا المحقن وهذيك طريق كانت تشيله عن
destroyed the dam walls there. These dam walls that breached here,
كانت تشيله عن
where he's pointing at, points at the 2 Asian dams
فيديو سووه
that collapsed.
هذا وادي وهذا وادي هاك تصور هذا واديين وهذا المحقن.
There is missing walls here that were just absolutely blasted. Water that had to have been heading to this area where these dam walls breached, along with so much else, had to have been blasting over the walls.
وهذيك الطريق كانت
I have further footage and
الطريق
images go over. Hundreds of bodies were laid out under blankets. So, the dead are being put out out along this. There's so many people being found so rapidly. There isn't much that can be done about the dead. This is grim.
وبعدين سمعنا الانفجار دخل على منطقة البلاد. الناس طبعا راقدة، الأغلبية كانت نايمة، فهمت؟ ما فيش حد كان مستعد، لكن الله غالب، شيء صار. فقد منزل العائلة، نحن جيران بعضنا، عرفت؟ عدة منازل جنب بعض.
I don't want to draw parallels to Morocco earthquakes. Same people were asleep. People were asleep here too. 60% of the city of Derna, Libya, has been affected. 30,000 have been displaced. 10,000 feared missing. Now the death toll being 20,000. These numbers keep climbing, and due to the rapid amount of bodies that are being found in the sea at a rapid... I don't want to show any graphic footage or images of this flooding out of respect. It's very dire from what it seems to be.
فقدنا الآن تو 30 شخص، 30 شخص من عائلة واحدة، ما لقيناش ولا واحد إلى الآن.
30 members of the same family.
على دورة ساعة ما على حالة الروشن انبحثنا. طبعا أول ما هاجمنا هجم الإعصار اللي جاء، سيارات كبار وهايلة وسيارات.
The water coming from the dam runoff is so strong, it'll break your legs if it hits you. This is the kind of destruction and devastation they were faced with. The water reached around 3 meters. It changed their earth. The city will never be the same. It's agriculture, livestock, so many different industries get hit, but these floods, 60% of the population has been affected. Half of the population is displaced. This is not a poor coastal city in Libya, in the Sea of Libya. Storm Daniel may have taken as many 20,000 lives. These are the new numbers that are being estimated. From 7,000, last I had checked, were who have died confirmed. With now, let me refresh this to see if they... Humans, not just nature, causes disaster. Dam failures are some of the most horrific disasters that I could ever imagine anybody being a part, having to be washed up in this extremely fast moving water. It moves too fast to dodge. It ruins the first floor of every building, smashes through the walls. It is not just a steady pouring of water that trickles in up to your knees. This is water that goes from you're standing in dirt and then suddenly you're gone because you cannot withstand this flood water. The raging waters of the dam spill. The dam was completely destroyed. Everything came out hurtling. The flood changed how the city even looks, its own earth. Here is one image from Islamic Republic of Pakistan. You can see this far, far reaching disaster. It is not just along the river. This water was like a bomb. It came out of that dam going as quickly as water can travel. Nothing could withstand this blast. It demolished buildings completely. There are buildings gone, completely wiped away along with everybody in it. Since it's happened at night and everybody was sleeping, the death toll just keeps climbing. And with the death toll being, last I had checked to be official, was 7,000, but now with the flood death toll may hit 20,000 people. It went from hundreds to thousands to now tens of thousands, seemingly overnight, because how difficult this area was to access, especially during a dam failure. There's nothing that could fight that. There is nothing that could withstand that water. You can't make a human chain and walk through this kind of water. It is coming at you, hitting, I imagine, would be like a truck. No way to make up that mass. This is another image from IROP on their Twitter, the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. You can see everything is also stuck in the mud. It isn't just the flood, but the tremendous amount of mud that is encased in everything will dry under the sun. It is a race against time to find any survivors that might be stuck in this mud, either in their car or just happen to completely be encased in it. It is impossible to fight your way out of it. The car is completely just gone. Flipped over, thrown around. This wasn't just a flood. This was a dam failure that resulted in the thousands of deaths. Somebody must answer for these failures. Why did the dam fail? We know it failed. We can see everything was completely destroyed by the dam. There's nothing left to see. This is the third image from the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. This is closer to the coast of the city, in the city of Derna, Libya. It is absolutely demolished. This isn't just a little flood damage. 60% of the population is destroyed. They are completely displaced, with 20,000 feared dead. Everybody, 30 people alone in one family were reported to have been missing. Another image from the Islamic Republic of Pakistan Twitter account. You can see where the river walls go. It just goes like a pathway. It destroyed all infrastructure. Anything. This floodwater, though, it shot out like a geyser sideways and destroyed all these buildings, everything in this way. This is video from BNL News. strength of this water, this dam failure, this reminds me a lot of Pakistan dam failures some years ago that went for their valleys. Just this water is only going one way. The dam failure caused so much water to flow in one way at such a rapid pace, it will scoop up anything. There's no standing in this water, there's no being in your car. And after all this comes the mud. People in Burning Man couldn't stand in that mud for very long. This mud left, lightning. This mud left here over washed away. This next video from BNO News. Absolutely decimated the infrastructure. This was a jet spray coming off the river, and everyone in its path and everything was destroyed. This is a nightmare. There is no justice in this world for dam failures. I'll keep it muted so it doesn't be too loud when I start it. This goes more during the daytime. Absolutely unreal devastation. 60% of the population of this city, this once wealthy coastal city of Derna, Libya, is decimated. This is heartbreaking to see buildings just cut in half by a water jet. The strength of this water is unreal, but the force that it came at everything either ripped everything apart or blew it away. There's no standing up to this. Any buildings that are standing right now were just not in that path of that bend of the river. This bend right here, you can see this bend of this river is where the water would have normally turned in normal conditions. But the dam failures that caused the water to surge so quickly that the water didn't care about the bend of this river. Water only went straight. It only stayed true. So that whole area that you see blasted up there, I've only seen this kind of damage from a sideways blast of a volcano, resulting in a lahar, a molten muddy water mixture that runs very fast, but it's also very strong. There's a lot of strength in the lahar. And I've seen damage like this in Indonesia and other countries, that the amount of power being held back by dams is crucial to so many societies, but at what cost? They aren't used for drinking. And now they have no drinking water here. Their infrastructure had to have been damaged, contaminated, so many different factors that play into just how you go from 1 to minus. Absolutely unreal devastation. This water, the first wave of water that hit this city, was apocalyptic, ferocious, devastating. Yet another video. You can look as far as you can see devastation. Miles. Road networks destroyed. Buildings completely wiped out. Parking lots scooped up. Thousands of cars. There's so much chaos, so much horrific, grim, dire news coming out of Derna, Libya. Schools. This was at night. Everyone was sleeping. This happened at night to everyone. This is not a poor city. This Derna, Libya, pretty wealthy. Not only that, with 80 to 90,000 people in the population, half of them are now displaced, with 20,000 feared dead. Another video of absolute destruction. It goes on for so long. Every building had its walls removed. Rebar is strung apart everywhere. That's the other thing, is you don't ever know what's in floodwater. It could be a giant bundle of rebar. You're not getting away from that. Your car isn't getting away from that. The devastation caused by these dam failures is on another level I've only seen in volcanism. With a lahar. A big volcanic lahar, a big muddy mud stream, mudslide, landslide, hot stream. Call it all the things. It has a lot of weight and power behind it. And this isn't just a normal flood. I was expecting today to look at updates of Libya and see bad news, because it's been trickling in. But the other thing is, like, just the news was hard to come by due to the severity of the floods. This wasn't just water rising. This was a wall of water coming at a city that was asleep. I don't mean to say asleep as in they were caught off guard. It was nighttime, and there was no warning. This kind of devastation would blow people out of their rooms, will drag them out of their homes, this kind of flood. This dam failure is... Someone needs to answer for this devastation. See, all gone. Became a new mouth of the river. Rips everything out. This might as well have been a volcanic lahar, pyroclastic blast. This city is absolutely devastated, and it was only a result of 2 aging dams. 2 aging dams were holding back this amount of power that decimated half of the population of Derna, Libya. This is horrific and grim as more and more reports keep coming up that the figures are massive. A Libyan medical worker cried on air after being asked about the latest casualties figures from the deadly storm in Libya. Figures are massive, he said, bursting into tears. He said the numbers could exceed 10,000. And the Libyan Red Crescent came out with a higher estimate of 20,000 earlier. 20,000 thought to have perished in the floods. See what this man has to say. This is horrible.
نترحم على أرواح، نسأل الله أن نحتسبهم الشهداء بإذن الله، ونسأل الله يتقبلهم. وهذه فاجعة من ربي سبحانه وتعالى لا اعتراض على حكمه. أهلنا وأخوتنا وأعداد وأرقام هائلة. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون.
كم العدد كم العدد؟
Oh my God.
غالب امر الله.
الله يرحمهم جميعا، الله يرحمهم.
هذا نيني هذا.
شد حيلك.
لا اله الا الله، لا اله الا الله يا رب.
إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. لا إله إلا الله. لا إله.
على الأقل أعطينا إحصائية. إحصائية لو كان فيها.
لا اله الا الله.
يعني تقريبا. كل مصيبان. هل فعلا وصلوا قريب 10,000؟
مصاب واحد كنا تقريبا.
ما نقدرش. لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله.
يعني هل العدد ممكن يصل ل 10,000؟
أكثر.
More than 10,000. Libyan Red Crescent estimates 20,000 people dead in a city of a population of 80 to 90,000. These figures are staggering. 50% of the population is displaced. Let's watch this man one more time.
نترحم على أرواح، نسأل الله أن نحتسبهم الشهداء بإذن الله، ونسأل الله يتقبلهم. وهذه فاجعة من ربي سبحانه وتعالى لا اعتراض على حكمه. أهلنا وأخوتنا وأعداد وأرقام هائلة. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون.
كم العدد كم العدد؟
غالب امر الله.
الله يرحمهم جميعا، الله يرحمهم.
هذا نيني هذا.
شد حيلك.
لا اله الا الله لا اله الا الله يا رب
إنا
الله يا
لله
رب الله يا رب
وإنا إليه راجعون. لا إله إلا الله. لا إله
على
إلا
الاقل
الله.
اعطينا احصائيه،
الله يا رب
احصائيه لو كان فيها،
لا اله الا الله
يعني تقريبا.
كل مصيبان
هل فعلا وصلوا قريب 10,000؟
مصاب واحد كنا تقريبا.
ما نقدرش. لا إله إلا الله محمد
يعني
رسول
هل
الله.
العدد ممكن يصل ل 10,000؟
أكثر.
Sea is constantly dumping bodies. Fears Libya flood death toll to reach 20,000. These images are unthinkable. Is absolute devastation, and everything was swept out to sea by a jet stream of water that you can't hear, can't see. It's night, everyone's asleep. In a city where everyone knows each other. At least tight-knit communities, 80 to 90,000 people in a coastal city. Some people are claiming to have lost dozens of family members already. It is heartbreaking to see this devastation and know just the amount of people that survived are displaced. Everything is in ruins. These images are from the Islamic Republic of Pakistan account, Twitter account. The devastation doesn't end. There's an entire coastal city of Derna just wiped out. This Cyclone Daniel brought in so much rain that the dams failed, and this bend here, which normally be a river bend, blew everything away. I've only seen this in lahars with volcanism, or just reshaping the land in such a way, like power washer spray. I'm not sure. It would a very large drill. The amount of force and power behind this initial blast of water from the dam failure, somebody has to answer for it. Far too great of a failure and horrific of fucking reality. Absolutely devastating. People were sleeping. Storm's been going on, so it is not that people were afraid of the storm and being evacuated. The flooding happened overnight, and 2 dam failures caused the death of up to 20,000 people and displacing half of the population. City of Derna, Libya. This devastation goes on for miles and miles and miles. This was not just a normal flooding event. This was a dam failure, and one of the most lethal I think I've seen think about just how small you would have to be in this picture. Go through that door in the middle. That is a building which looked like my old high school, I guess. I can relate to the building structure, the windows. It just looks like a school to me, and it's gone. The amount of rebar that is balled up in so many different regions, it will take you. Can't in the floodwaters, all that rebar would be the same as being chomped on by a gator. It is not going to let go. This is an image posted from BNO News. You can see the devastation. The floodwater was so severely strong and fast, it blew apart the floors of buildings. It blew open walls. It destroyed the entire infrastructure that is meant to contain this river. Those are people on the right-hand side, if you can see. These are people all on the right side of this bank. I'll highlight some of them. You can see a group of people under the O here. Group of people here. Group of people. There are people everywhere in this image. But the scale, the sense of scale in this destruction, the enormity behind it, is this damn failure needs to be investigated. Too many people, too many lives have been ruined by inadequate dam maintenance. Maybe the dam was too old. Well, it was definitely too old. What am I talking about? Two aging dams. They just look like just two mounds of mud at the time of afterwards. I have that image somewhere. This ruined a society. Yeah, so another video from BNO News. Strength of this water. Cars, everything. Nothing withstood that. Some buildings Most buildings collapsed along the riverbed, it looked like. The roar of this river. It isn't a river, what am I talking about? This was a dam failure. 2 dams failed, sent water streaming up. It was shot out of a power washer. This was not a normal flooding event. It was aided by 2 dam failures that resulted in the displacement of over 30,000 people and the deaths of over 20,000. There are people in this image being washed away. They caught a city off guard. Bodies pulled from sea as country reels from deadly flooding. Flood water doesn't recede because living in a floodplain or a once thought extinct floodbed, but with dams that are way too old, only 2 dams failed, and that was a result. 20,000 deaths, 30,000 displaced, and thousands still missing. Buildings collapsed and carried away. Everything that touched this water was carried off. Nothing could withstand this flood. This was not storm surge. Storm Daniel's definitely had a part in this horrific, grim, apocalyptic even event to happen. It was 2 dams that could not handle the added water from Storm Cyclone Daniel. Bursting dams and washing out entire neighborhoods at sea. In Derna, one of the most affected cities, rescuers used helicopters to cover bodies washed up by the sea. Military rescue teams were also deployed to recover victims. They run out of the amount of people missing, unidentified, and
هذه مدينة بحالها أبيدت.
the entire city has been
ما
annihilated.
زالت تحت الأنقاض واللي في
There are
البحر
victims still under the
وفي
rubble,
اللي هم
and
ضربوه
some
وبعدين
are in the
يدفنوا
sea.
بدرس جماعي.
There are bodies buried in mass graves because the cemeteries are full.
حتى المقابر ما شالناهمش.
Right in Derna.
هذا هو ديالي وهذا
which
المحجر
caused 2 dams in the mountains to
وهذيك
collapse.
الطريق.
وبعدين سمعنا الانفجار دخل على منطقه البلاد، الناس طبعا
People were asleep. No one was ready. The exterior of all these buildings, it looks like a lahar. A volcanic lahar took place and ripped out society from a city.
راقده، الاغلبيه كانت نايمه، فهمت؟ فقد منزل العائله كامله، نحن جيران بعضنا، عرفت، عده منازل جنب بعضنا، عائله سقيبه. فقدنا لعند تو 30 شخص، 30 شخص من عائله واحده. ما لقيناش ولا واحد الى الان. ما لقيناش ولا واحد الى الان.
It ripped everything out to sea. It wasn't just on the river line, but throughout the city itself. Figures are massive. Libyan medic cries over flooding death toll video. Libya, bodies pulled from sea. I have other sources. This was one of the earlier sources I read was hundreds feared dead, thousands missing. This was from the 11th. Mass casualty of 20,000 feared dead. Escaping. There's no escaping that. This punched up rebar here is one of the most terrifying things I've seen. I will check updates on Twitter to see if speechless. A drone shot of Derna, Libya. Planks and rebar. Absolutely unreal devastation. Every building in this city as well is probably unsafe dwelling. The enormity of this disaster is heart-wrenching. No. Fight the flood. Trying to fight the flood to evacuate more people. Need heavy machinery. Wow. The moment a flood hits Derna in Libya, this is precisely the footage I wanted to see, because this first wave had to have been so tremendously powerful and strong to hit so hard, and it carrying so much debris, plank, like construction material, rebar. It just adds to the tremendous amount of weight to each wave. Versus the floods. Every cubic inch will hit you like a truck. Very slow moving truck. This entire area was just completely devastated. The strength of this water is terrifying. blows out everything lower than the second floor. Derna, Libya, after devastating flooding in the United Nations, 30,000 people have been left homeless by the recent flooding in Libya. Multiple bridges were destroyed. The whole riverbank was taken out.
فيديو سووه هذا
There was a dam.
تصور هذا وديين وهذا المحقن
Completely blew that wall apart.
وهذيك طريق كانت تجي لعند الطريق هذا
There's like a drain basin next to it.
عارفين عجمات درنا هذا السد
Water coming out too fast to drain.
سد تراب بريت السد تراب وعليه الحيط قريت الحيط اهو قاعد
فوق لا تراب تراب الغالي
تراب شايف شيء لا من الخرسانه
عاد انهار السد هذه فوقي هذا السد الاول والسد الثاني عاد هو اللي اوطى من هذا هذا كم ارتفاع ديما في 50 40 متر تو
40 متر
هذا 40 متر 40 متر وشيء فوق من دارنا يعني اللي يقول لك خشت عليه ميه الدور الرابع والدور الخامس هذه هي ما فيها الشك عوض طريق
I returned from Derna. It was very disastrous. Bodies are lying everywhere. In the sea, in the valleys, under the buildings. I am not exaggerating when I say that 25% of the city has disappeared. Many, many buildings have collapsed. This is the deadliest flood in North Africa's history. Repeat that again. This is the deadliest flood in North Africa's history. The death toll is thought to be over 20,000 people, with 30,000 displaced, out of a city of a population of 80 to 90,000. Changed your whole society. This was an incredible failure. No one is going to be punished. Thousands are dead. who can blame who for a dam failure? It was the storm. It was the rain. It was a dam. It couldn't hold it. It shouldn't have been there. A lot of hindsight. That's all everything is. But if there are going to be reports that, oh yeah, dozens of times people have come forward about this dam, I imagine. Complete breach. Port's gone. Rebar is everywhere. Tanglement is so bad. You never know what's in floodwater. People are washing, their bodies are washing back up. This came out of nowhere. Additional flooding when the dam failed. Entire port is gone. Got blown away, along with most first level buildings and first floor of multi-level buildings were destroyed. Many buildings on top of that collapsed. Is apocalyptic sites. Warren for the rebar. Floods isn't exactly what caused this, but again, dam failures. Absolutely unreal. Everybody was home, sleeping. This was nighttime. Six hours ago, Turkish search and rescue teams from AFAD have now reached the Derna region of Libya. Two dams collapsing. The strength of the water is unimaginable.
نداء استغاثة، نداء استغاثة. بياضة راهي حاصلين، السكان حاصلين، ما عادش يقدروا حتى يطلعوا. المية راهي قريب وصلوا للدور الثاني. نداء استغاثة للحكومات، للقيادة. نداء استغاثة، راهم الناس حاصلين. الناس حاصلين في حشانهم، قاعدين فوق السطوح. الله يرحم والديكم، الله يبارك فيكم. نداء استغاثة. الناس راهي حصلت، ما عادش عرفت كيف تطلع، ما عادش عرفت كيف تطلع.
الحين الحوشين طيحات والعمارات لقدام. شايف نقدر نخش عليهم ولا لا؟ طايحة. السلام عليكم. ها؟ عد لا عد. وين الدرب؟ أنا قدام الدنيا طايحة.
There's no one.
من تقولوا والله شغلهم ترى شوفوا والله يبغوا حاجة. شنو يا شباب؟ ناقصكم حاجة بشيء والله. الحمد لله على سلامتكم. والله عاد
السيارة تطلع والله يا خلي روار.
ان شاء الله خير.
اول ورد خير.
In the morning, where everyone was asleep, there was a big bang. It's like an explosion, huge explosion, which means the dam was broken down, and a huge wave. They said it was as high as 6-story building or even higher, that swept the whole country like a single wave tsunami, and that swept many houses and many high-rise buildings into the sea, or collapsed those houses and the people living in them. And those who went in the sea, of course, they were drowned. And unfortunately, thousands are missing, and it's expected that the death toll could be as high as 15 or even 20,000 people. What I hear that about 3
A whole section of the city. Oh my god. Floors collapsed below it after the legs were taken out of the buildings, like most buildings. Libyan Red Crescent.
Let's cross over to Gouma El Gamati, head of the Tahrir party in Tripoli. It's good to have you with us on Al Jazeera, sir. The tension politically between east and west of the country is evident. How are the two administrations coordinating efforts to help people in the east and in Derna?
Well, I think at the moment, in times of catastrophe and disaster, everybody is rising above all these political differences and polarizations and coming together to help on this humanitarian challenge. So I think people are mobilizing from the east, from the west, from all over Libya to try to, ferry and take whatever they can in terms of equipment and supplies to those cities in the east, but especially the hardest hit city, which is Derna, which, as your guest just mentioned, it's very difficult to get to, and the information is that it's really disastrous there. It's a catastrophe. There is a lot of damage. Whole residential areas have been pushed into the sea, and there could be definitely hundreds dead and possibly thousands missing until now. And so all those supplies and all those equipment, it's not easy to get them to inside Derna.
No.
Also, whether it's the government in the east, which is not recognized internationally, or the government in Tripoli, which is recognized, I think what is needed is far beyond the means of those two governments. I think what we need is an international mobilization to help, especially the city of Derna, but other parts of the city.
That is going to be very difficult, isn't it, to appeal to the international community when there are these two administrations in the country and have unity on what is an emergency. How do you expect the international community to react, and who should they be reacting to, Tripoli or the Eastern administration?
Well, I think this disaster, as I said, transcends all differences in Libya, and everybody will cooperate with any support or any rescue that can come from outside Libya. It is known that over the last 12 years, many countries have been interfering in Libya. Unfortunately, most of the time, interfering detrimentally and supplying weapons and arms. So now we need them to interfere constructively and positively by supplying us with badly needed equipment, sophisticated equipment, and badly needed humanitarian supplies. And whether they deal with authorities in the east or in the west, they'll find that every Libyan will cooperate with them to help those beleaguered, those who are stuck in those disastrous areas. It is very important now to save as many people and to try
One understands that, Mr. El Ghamati, one understands that's what you're appealing for. Let's get to the nitty-gritty. What is Tripoli sending now? What are political aids to you and the political hierarchy within the capital there telling you about the aid and the equipment that is going to the east? What do you actually know?
Well, we know that the government in Tripoli or the municipalities and all the civil defense and all the medical care and fire brigade and all those civil authorities and civil services that normally help on these disasters have all mobilized last night and today, and they're all taking all the needed supplies and equipment to the east, to those areas. And I think the authorities in the east, the municipalities in each city and each town are also cooperating. So help will be welcome. Doesn't matter whether it's coming from Tripoli or coming from outside Libya. Help will be welcomed, and people at the site of the disasters will cooperate and will try to facilitate that help to reach the needed people and the needed parts at the moment. So
who then
as
makes
I said,
Mr. El Ghamati, let me just get in there. How do you assess what is needed? Because there is food and shelter as one form of aid, and there is also the aid of logistics, mending roads and bridges that have been washed away. Who makes that valid assessment, and who understands that appeal, and who makes that appeal to the international community if Tripoli or if Libya itself doesn't have that heavy equipment to repair the roads and the routes so the logistics of aid can get to the locations of the disaster?
I think the appeal is already out. It's on international media. It doesn't have to be an official request. We've heard some countries have now in the last hour indicated that they're willing to help. I hope others will come forward as well. As long as those countries are willing to help and make an initiative and come forward and say they are ready to send required equipment and other form of help, I think all the needs to facilitate that will be provided locally. I think we need equipment, digging equipment, uncovering collapsed buildings, possibly even picking bodies or people who are floating, or people who are stuck in the sea, people who are stuck under buildings, that kind of equipment. I think food and shelter is probably the least we need. Food can be supplied locally, but sophisticated equipment to detect people under the rubble, to dig, to repair roads quickly, to even set up temporary roads so that we can have access to a place like Derna, which is is now completely cut off. That is the kind of need, the help we need. I think this only international community, only certain countries or other countries than Libya can provide this sophisticated equipment and quickly. I think the logistical operation needed requires international intervention. Authorities in Libya, whether it's in the east or in the south or in the west, are not really in a position to provide these sophisticated equipment and logistical support.
We'll see what happens, what does come in. Guma El Gamati, thanks so much for joining us from Tripoli, sir. Still ahead.
من عندنا وضع كارثي.
And 20,000 people have thought to have perished now in Derna alone, Derna, Libya alone. 30,000 displaced. Can't get over this shot. This rebar bundles up here, along with everything else. I just blowing out all the walls, levels of a building. Unsurvivable. Rescuers in Libya have been waiting through icy water of the storm tore throughout the country. Cars just rolled over, flipped, carried away in the floodwater. Dams that failed, and so much power away it floated buildings. Finding people everywhere. Finding people under properties. The water
هذه مدينة بحالها أبيدت كامل، ما زالت تحت الأنقاض، وفي اللي في البحر، وفي اللي هم جابوه وقعدوا يدفنوا فيهم لدرجة جماعي، حتى المقابر ما شالناهمش.
هذا وديين وهذا المحقن وهذيك طريق.
وبعدين سمعنا الانفجار دخل على منطقة البلاد، الناس طبعا راقدة، الأغلبية كانت نايمة، فهمت؟ فقد منزل العائلة كاملة، نحن جيران بعضنا، عرفت، عدة منازل جنب بعضنا، عائلة سقيب. فقدنا العين تو 30 شخص، 30 شخص من عائلة واحدة. ما لقيناش ولا واحد إلى الآن.
Libya's floods are a result of climate crises meeting a failed state. Storm Daniel is by no means the only factor behind the devastation brought on the city of Derna. The dams that failed, no one will be punished. Two competing governments seems to be the case. The entire port of Derna gone. This bend of the river here, the water just demolished bridges, river walls, collapsed buildings, destroyed anything that came in contact with this water, got ripped out. Fire, as that man said, his family alone lost 30 people. This is Derna, shot downriver, going out to sea. You see, the port's gone. The port is practically gone. River just destroyed. And this was so widespread. There was other flooding in other areas, but I didn't hear about dam failures in those other areas, so it's just slow flooding. Compare it to this water that will just grab you by your hand and take you. Some reports I've read put the water at 9 stories at its peak, as in the initial wave that first came out of the dam, because it's going to be the same size as the dam while holding it back. That gets released and it wants to just speed forward, leaving a very lethal trail of destruction. 30,000 people displaced. Most of these buildings in the city of Derna are now practically uninhabitable. Another shot of Derna looking out to sea. It looks like the seawall on the right side survived. So many buildings look absolutely burned out, destroyed, rotten. Cars just stuck in the mud now. Everything's stuck in the mud. A lot of digging, it's a lot of excavating, and they don't have the equipment for it. They've been requesting international aid for special digging equipment. They have miles of mud to dig. This is the Mercury News. General view of the city of Derna. Mediterranean storm Daniel caused devastating floods in Libya that broke dams and swept away entire neighborhoods in multiple coastal towns. The destruction appeared greatest in Derna city. The streets still remain flooded. This picture is also in Derna. Flash flood just tore everything apart. This is horrible. This is disaster I had. You hear news, flooding. Until you see the dam failure, the power of water that it was holding back, begin to appreciate appreciate massive, massive scale of this disaster. Hundreds of buildings collapsed. Tens of thousands of people are homeless. In a city of 80 to 90,000 people, 20,000 are feared dead, 30,000 homeless. And it looks like most of Derna, these buildings are uninhabitable now. Power lines is just an absolute mess of a disaster and a very tragic disaster. Very sorry for everyone that has to be either a witness to this. Is absolutely, the scale of this just is climbing. Death toll in Libya's Derna flooding could reach 20,000, says Mayor. This is a new article posted by Al Jazeera. Residents of the devastated Libyan city of Derna desperately searched for missing relatives as rescue workers appealed for more body bags after a catastrophic flood that killed thousands of people and swept many out to sea. Lots of the Mediterranean city were obliterated by a torrent of water unleashed by a powerful storm, that would be Storm Daniel. It swept down a usually dry riverbed on Sunday night, bursting dams above the city. Multi-story buildings collapsed with sleeping families inside. Everybody was asleep. Estimating it now, at least 10,000, but the mayor of Derna estimated, as well as the Libyan Red Crescent, over 20,000 dead. They're asking for body bags, they're not asking for food. They're asking for very, very special, particular items they need a lot of. That are very unique. 20,000 body bags overnight. People, their bodies everywhere. 5,300 dead have been counted so far. And the Derna mayor estimated 18 to 20,000 based on a number of districts destroyed by the flood. Rescue teams have arrived from Egypt, Tunisia, the United Arab Emirates, Turkey, Qatar. We actually need teams specialized in recovering bodies. I fear the city will be infected with an epidemic due to the large number of bodies under the rubble and in the water. Medical food, tents, equipment. Yeah, people are informed of the flooding, people are informed of the rain, but what they aren't informed of is how some couple of brittle ass dams that were made 80 years ago are gonna fucking withstand anything thrown at them. Storm Daniel, they can blame it on the storm as much as they want. Failing infrastructure is at fault. Why not rebuild the dams when they are too dangerous to maintain? This happens all around the world. This is not just a North African problem. Plenty of dam failures that have made headlines in the United States, especially over the past 3 years. And this just in, the US redirects military funding from Egypt to Taiwan. At this time, I imagine Egypt would be looking to support Libya. Now, that's taken off the table. Nobody wants to support Libya due to political strife. They're afraid that once they help them get back on their feet, they're going to be what they fear again, which is what? They punished tens of thousands of people in a city for just a few dozen. We have political differences with the people of Libya because of Muammar Gaddafi. How long ago? This is insane. Are they still under sanctions? Nobody's going to be able to supply them support because of sanctions for previous administrations, and it's currently going on 2 administrations in Libya. The scale of this is just beginning, I'm afraid. Oil up on scarcity issues triggered by storm-related output disruptions in Libya. Oil prices spiking. There, now let me see it all. Oil up on scarcity issues triggered by storm-related output disruptions in Libya. Oil prices spiked on Wednesday, bolstered by supply disruptions in Libya, output cuts from Saudi Arabia and Russia, and positive expectations over the trajectory of the global economy. Sure. Anyway, Libya A large producer of light sweet crude oil sends around 85% of its exports to Europe. So Europe's been trying to wean off Russian oil. I hope this doesn't cause them to go back. What else are they going to do? You have a nation to feed machines that $92.40 a barrel, 10-month high. 20,000 people dead, 30,000 people displaced. These people are going to be overlooked due to the output of oil. This is most grim flooding disaster I think I've seen. I can only compare the devastation to a lahar from a volcano. That would probably be on par with the kind of damage, devastation that we are seeing here. Probably. Thank you for watching. I will return again with another stream.